ready? All right. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Podcast, the guide to fast casual fortunes. You got myself, Brandon, one of the co-hosts, and Joe.
What's up, dude?
What's up, Joe? How you doing, buddy?
I feel good.
Good?
Great dinner. I'm feeling full.
I know, right? Lethargic. But actually, I'm super pumped, super excited. We got the man of the hour, Marshawn Goodloe, owner of Baby Bear Burger, with us today.
Yes, yes.
I'm just going to call it out. Best burger in Jackson, right?
Let's do it. Yes. We out there.
Yeah.
Maybe more than Jackson, dude. I don't know. It's my son's
That's
favorite
official.
burger.
Yeah.
yeah. So, but he brings all the hype, all the energy, and I'm excited to have you on, man. You drove all the way up from Jackson.
Yes. I had to be here today. Yes, here we are. Yup, 100%. Yup, I came from Jackson. Couldn't miss this. You know, my boy Nom Nom Ninja. You know, when Brandon, when we first started our food truck, he is the person I reached out to, so I had to be here.
Yeah, man. And I remember meeting you first, and you actually put me on the guy that did your vinyl, the Greenbacks Graphics. You give them a shout out.
Greenbacks?
Yeah. He's the one that put me on those guys, and I noticed your rap, man. It was like super nice and super catchy. It was crazy because nobody else was doing it. I think I've tried in the past and didn't have success, but you had sponsors on your truck right away, right?
Yeah,
trailer. That was dope. You had to see sponsoring you. So, Baby Bear Burger is one of those catchy names. So actually, I've never heard the story on that. Like, how did you come up with Baby Bear Burger?
If you read the old fable, you open up the book, Papa Bear had a burger that was too spicy, and Mama Bear had one too sweet, and Baby Bear had one just right. It was a missing page in the whole book, so we had that page, and we was like, yeah, let's do that. Let's do Baby Bear Burger.
That's awesome. So they're just right, bro. They are too.
100%.
What did you do before food trucks?
I did every job in America except for Best Buy. Yeah. I couldn't get past a second interview for nothing. Yes.
You tried.
I tried. I was like, man, I'm going to make it to the second interview. It was like, nah, we're not going to call him back. Yeah. So right before Baby Bear, I was a truck driver for J.B. Hunt, running intermodal from Detroit to Chicago. And that was kind of like my route. So it was like semi-local. Yeah.
You had some culinary experience though, right?
Yeah, 100%. But then most of my training came from home, just kind of be in the backyard doing our thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the smoke, breathing it in when you're a young little kid and you're like, oh, man, and you're like, I want to do that. Oh, that tastes so good. And they give you one of those little burnt hot dogs. And, yeah, I was like, this is what I want to do. Yeah.
So with your call, because you give me some ideas all the time about what like we should be adding and serving, and you're pretty creative. Like, what made you settle on burgers?
Burgers, it's like one of the number one things that people like in America. Even though like chicken is the number one meat in America, burgers is the number one item that people order, burgers and fries. So I was like, hey, that's something I want to do. And that's kind of like what people actually picked when we were serving kind of different foods and trying things out. And people was like, hey, where's that burger at? So it was like, all right, let's get it.
You piloted some menu items?
Yeah, we did pilot with some menu items. When we first started, we actually popped up a tent. We had chicken, we had burgers, we had pulled pork sandwiches. Whatever you wanted, we made it, and we tried to see what people liked, and everybody said, "Man, bring me that burger again." So yeah.
How long did you do a tent setup?
We did a tent setup probably for about 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
Before we got a food truck. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
We during the heart of pandemic, it was kind of like hard to get anything. So the tent is something that we had readily available. We had masks. We just threw those masks on and we just started serving. So definitely, people were hungry and people were lining up, and we just put them on the picnic tables and people grabbed their orders. So.
COVID was a time that we thought was going to destroy us. We lost a bunch of big events, and Jackson actually saved us.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was you. Tiki told us.
No, it wasn't Tiki Sam. It was Kona Ice.
Oh, yeah.
Mary.
Yeah, told us come down and try out one of these subdivisions.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll try a subdivision. Like, holy cow. they come out down in Jackson. So
Yeah, that was back in the day with Sassafras and Stonegate. Those were the hot spots
Yeah.
during COVID. And the subdivisions blew up, and so like that's when we found out that like there was a real business model for us because we started off the same way out of a tent. That's pretty cool. I don't know a whole lot of food trucks that start off in a tent because that's a whole different grind.
Yeah, it is. It's like a 2 hour set, 2.5 hour setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what we started at the casino doing concerts, and we just had an event Saturday, and the other 2 units there are tent setups. We rolled up like as it ended, hopped in the truck, backed out of there. They've been breaking down for like 3 hours.
Yeah, don't miss
So
that.
glad I'm not doing that anymore. They had like each one of them had like 10 people out there.
They did. And they brought out fryers. They brought out like everything. They brought out all the grease, all the fryers, all their tables. And it's like one of them had like 3 or 4 tents put together. And like they were like, you had to hammer them down because they've had tents blow off before too.
Yeah.
So like they make their So I remember doing that setup with we actually had. Man, ours was pretty ghetto, to be honest with you.
It was super good.
We had to take 2 trips, maybe 2 or 3 trips. We had a hot dog cart for a hand washing station.
We had a freezer on a yard trailer.
On a utility trailer. But what I love about that, bro, is the same idea, though. It allowed us to test our concept, as a pilot to see what people really wanted. Yeah. And, like, honestly, we started off doing farmers markets, and, like, our sizes, it was actually Joe that noticed this, too. Our sizes of our wraps were like half of what they are now. Mm-hmm. And like people would always be buying 2. And then like man, maybe we should make them bigger. So we made a little bit bigger. And Joe's like, I think we can make them even bigger. I'm like, I don't know, man. People are going to buy that big of a wrap. And then that's when we introduced the sumo size. They were actually, at first I think they were like the double XL, but then we changed it to sumo to match the theme a little bit. And, they're honestly, they're like, we probably sell 30-40% sumos now.
Wow.
So yeah, just tested it out. So
yeah.
Did you ever do any farmers markets or anything?
When I first started out, no. I just did what I did is I did a couple of events, but when you pop up a tent, the licensing in Jackson is where you got to be in one location for 14 days for that license. So that license was $144. And I didn't want to just hop from location to location to pay that $144.
Wow.
So I actually struck a deal with my uncle, and I was like, hey, you let me set up beside your building. He had electric, so I was cheating.
Yeah.
I said, he was like, man, I'll charge you $30 a day. And that's where we popped up. And then we brought it into the building. The building wasn't like used for anything. It was almost like just an office building that he had. And it was on the corner of First and Greenwood. And that's where people knew like, hey, we got the spot open. Let's go. Let's get it. And I just paid for 14-day licenses until we got our food truck.
Wow.
So like 3 months, you did it fast then.
Yeah, 100%. We wanted to capture like the momentum. So like we were like, man, the summer's kind of ending. We want to capture that momentum and have it traveled into next year. So we were like, let's get a food truck. And like forever, like everybody slams the door in your face and then somebody opens the door for you. So like we went to usevending.com and we were able to get a trailer from there and get finance. And the trailer that we wanted on their website was all the way in South Beach. So I drove down there with my truck, hooked up to it, and brought it all the way back to.
You drove to South Beach?
I had a good time too. Yeah,
You weren't straight there, straight back.
I wasn't straight back. You know what I mean? We had a little fun. You know what I mean? In South Beach, but yeah, most definitely, we went down there, hooked up, we brought it back. People were super stoked, and so much support. And we actually opened it up in the winter. Like I went down there, it was cold up here. And then when I came back, it was, it was still cold, but we opened up soon, right away, and just, hit the ground running. So most definitely.
So did you buy a unit that was good to go, or did you have to do anything?
So the biggest thing was the wrap. So it was like a Mexican theme, do like tacos, burritos, and things like that. So we drove down there and got it, but then we had to wrap it, and we were kind of broke. I ain't even gonna lie. Like I was broke from the whole trip, putting down a deposit. So what we did, we came up with this idea. A buddy of mine was like, hey, just get sponsors for the back. And each sponsor would pay $500. So I went to local businesses and said, hey, if you could give me $500, this truck will be visible to this, this many people, and we're gonna be serving this. So they gave me, I got 6 people to actually give me that. That was $3,000, and then pays for the wrap.
That's smart, man.
It's my favorite thing about starting off grinding is the hustle. Like you figure
You
out
have
a
to
way.
you
grind it out and you make things happen that most people are like, we don't got the money.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
can't do it. And you're like, nah. I'm going to sell some advertising.
Right.
I'm going to make up some numbers, make it sound good.
Fabricated a little bit. Man, we about to be so popular. Yeah.
You were right.
Yeah, you were right. You're
Yeah.
fortuitous.
Yep.
So yeah, one thing, man, is like you said, you got to be creative and like really have that grind and that grit to go out there and get it. Like it reminds me of a story, dude. One of my favorite stories. I was at I haven't really told it much, but we were down at Island Park when I had a barbecue food truck, and I was just operating out of it was actually a hot dog cart we were doing barbecue out of. It was pretty cool. But there was a guy next to us, and he had a pretty nice setup. It was ice cream. And I got to talking to him, and he's like, oh, I'm just a hustler, man. I just make money. And I was like, how'd you even get started like doing this? It was hand-scooped ice cream. And he said that
You know, it's funny. This guy told me the same story at my hot dog stand.
he did?
Yep.
It's the same guy?
Yeah.
So he's from Detroit. And he was downtown Detroit, and his transmission blew up. And he only had like $200 or $300, and he was stranded. He's like, what am I going to do, man? He's like, that's all I got. He's like, I can't. He's like, my car's, I can't get paid to get it fixed. And he's like, what can I do to make money? And so he had an idea, and he went to the corner store, and he bought a gallon of ice cream and some like ice cream cones. And he went and stood on the corner in downtown selling ice cream cones. And he said, dude, I completely sold out, and I made enough money to go buy 2 more gallons. And like he's like, I've never done anything like this before in my life. Went back down, sold out again. He said by the end of the day, he had enough money to fix his transmission.
Wow.
And then he figured out it was a business model.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, that's crazy, man. Just to know that you can make money if anyway, like you come up with the idea, you can make the money. So, and he did it. He executed it.
Yeah.
So is that the same story he told you?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I was inspired by that. I was like, man, anybody can make money. You're in that,
Yeah.
you're in a situation.
He gave me like $20.
Yeah.
We used to sell hot dogs downtown. Actually, in the hot dog stand that I sold you, I think that you're talking about.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, he came up. He's like, oh, I love anybody doing this. I'm like, oh, well,
Yeah.
whatever. People always say that.
Yeah.
And then he told me that same story. I'm like, dang. This
Yeah.
guy was
Same story. Yeah, that's
hustling, yeah.
awesome. Yeah, it must be legit. So when did you so you started during COVID, right? The pandemic?
I did.
And-
Actually, I got a story for you.
Yeah.
So when I was in high school, and the kids, they sell the candy bars, we were like having a challenge, and we're like, who can sell the most candy bars? So I sold 1,551
Holy.
candy bars. I did that so I could see 1551, just to kind of like keep it
Yeah.
even. And people were like, oh my, and still to this day, it's like people ask like, how did you do it or whatever. It's because that's who you are.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like that drive. And one of my teachers, her name is Mrs. Brown. I used to go to Jackson High, and she actually drove me around in her beat up Buick, and we hit up every corner, every spot. And we did that. So, yeah, when you were saying that story, I was like, yeah, I got that too. Yeah, I feel that story.
This is keep coming up. Like something that you don't think about with this is you being a hustler, all that, but you got to be a salesperson. In this too. Like you got to have a personality with the food truck. People are going to food trucks you can get food anywhere, but they want that experience. So clearly, you got a personality. You can go around selling 1,500 candy bars. That's a big part of this. So if people are thinking about getting into this, check your personality. Like if you're not outgoing, get with somebody that is, because it's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, we've seen that. I mean, we've seen a guy that he loves to cook, but he has no personality.
Yeah.
And so, you see that business, it's not, even though his food's incredible, he doesn't have the personality, he doesn't have the marketing ability, he doesn't have the way to, the ability to talk to people. So, like you said, partner with somebody, or at least know your weaknesses and know where you need to fulfill those spots. You know what I'm saying? Like, because food trucks is like a well-rounded business, right? You can't just be good at one thing. Yeah. And that's what kind of makes it so, we got to be versatile, and we got to be well-rounded. So, but I want to get back to because you got a lot of exciting things going on. And that's, I'm super pumped to have you on here because of that. Because you're one of the guys that has successfully so far transitioned from a food truck to a brick and mortar, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I gotta be caught up to speed on that. I haven't actually been there yet, since you opened.
Yeah.
So,
I wouldn't say true success, because success is like at the end of the rainbow for me, but being in the thick of it is like where you want to be at. So we have embarked on a new venture at the brick and mortar location. I was a food truck. We was hustle, and we got to a certain point where we're like, okay, people love it. How can we capitalize on that momentum again? So we were like, okay, let's get a brick and mortar so people can actually come up here, and we have a spot where people can come, a location, the number one spot. And so we kind of were looking around, and it was like kind of just fell in our lap. The guy that we took over his building, he was super successful. He was in there for 43 years, almost 44 years.
Wow.
And he was running House of Taco. And it was just like, I'm ready to retire. And we're like, what? And then I reached out to one of my friends, which is his dad, his daughter, excuse me, and it was his dad's restaurant. And I was like, hey, he retiring. Hey, man, can we get that restaurant from him? You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was kind of like one of those things, and we were the first call that he had. He loved our burger. He loved what we was doing. He loved our reels. He loved our hustle. So he was like, hey. And then we struck a deal, and he pretty much got us in this building, and we've been in that building for about a year and a half.
Wow.
So, yeah.
What a
You
story.
keep taking over the taco joints.
That's what I was just going to say. I would say the trailer was a taco and the building was a
Some with these
taco.
tacos.
From tacos to burgers.
Started from a taco, now we here. You know? Yeah. Please, I don't want to get sued for that, okay?
I do
feel the
not own
next
the,
reel coming.
Yes.
do not own the
It's going to be like
copyrights.
open up a taco, it becomes a burger.
Yes. Develop.
Or taco burger.
Yes. All that chopped up ground meat comes into one patty.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like taco burgers.
Yes. Yeah, taco burgers are good. I mean, like one patty is flat on the.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's good. It's delicious. I tried it too. Yeah. So the biggest thing I feel like it's just like as an entrepreneur, as you both know, that you just take advantage of the opportunity. So anytime there's an opportunity in front of me, I always try to take advantage of that. So the next opportunity was the 127 Brewery, which definitely was like, hey, we have this food truck, that is sitting around most days. When it's sitting around, it's not making no money. So as a truck driver, they always had this saying, if the wheels ain't turning, you ain't earning. So we were like, hey, let's move it somewhere where we could start, where we start getting going 24/7 or every single day. And we partnered with a brewery that says, hey, and they've been having a hard time getting food trucks out there. So we're like, hey, let's just set it out there and get the foot traffic, do the DoorDash and do the Uber Eats and potentially Grubhub.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's something you put us on to. Like, we move around every day. We're always on the go, and we're exploring different concepts. And I think maybe when we're thinking about, that opens a door. Is if you can do, what would you say your percentages on your daily sales with that?
Well, I mean, with the you talking about with the DoorDash?
Yeah.
So with the daily sales, they usually do like a weekly thing. So at the end of the week, it's about 4K. In sales. So when you're going over a whole week, that's a couple $100 bucks a day to add with your walk up sales, and then that's just DoorDash, and then you got Uber Eats, then you got your website as well, and then you also got Grubhub.
So that's taking something where like this doesn't make sense to now.
Yeah.
It's adding on to it where it a couple extra $100 when you're talking about sitting in one spot is a big difference.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of people I feel like are intimidated. I feel like you're not intimidated
Yeah, I
by
feel like
anything.
you're fearless.
Yeah. Do you think about the
I don't
consequences?
think you and Brandon should hang
I
out
know,
ever.
right? Yeah, let's just go for it, bro. That's kind of how I am too. Like, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
I am the rev limiter of this partnership.
You got to be the referee. You just got to.
But I say you're a success, man, because like going from a tent to a trailer to an established restaurant that's been open longer than a year.
Yep,
right?
year and a half. Yep.
And you're still expanding. I mean, that's an success for 90% of people that start up.
We talk about this all the time. Like when you're in the grind, you don't feel like you're successful because you're just in it. You're like busting your butt, and like I said, it's light at the end of the rainbow. But you got to take a minute and appreciate what you've done. I mean, you started a business in COVID, first of all,
right?
And, 4 years later, you got brick and mortar and a couple other things going on. So I'd say you're doing all right.
I think a lot of times people look at the end result and say, hey man, I'm gonna be rich or whatever like that. No, be happy with the process. The process is where you want to be at, in the thick of it. When people come there and say, hey man, your burger is phenomenal. When you get a vote from Jackson Magazine for the best burger in Jackson County, those things just like, and you get to walk up there and hold that trophy. You know what I mean? We had those food truck events, and we were winning trophies, and I'm like, yes, baby, we're on top of the world. Those things is like, it ignite you and keeps you going, and it keeps that fire going. So yeah, most definitely be happy with the be in it. Don't think about if it makes millions or whatever it might be. that's great, but be here in the moment. So yeah,
If you're not enjoying the grind, you're not gonna keep going. 'cause
yeah,
it's a grind.
It's a grind. It's
Yeah.
a grind. It's a grind.
Would you so seeing that you went from a food truck to a brick and mortar, is that what you would recommend for other trucks? Like, is that something that you like support, or do you think it has to be like the right situation, or do you think like most people wouldn't be able to pull something like that off? Because that's what we're getting into is like we see a lot of people have the dream of opening a brick and mortar, and they ask us, and Joe has one experience with brick and mortars, so we usually steer them one way. So I'd like to see what your thoughts is on like going from that to a brick and mortar.
I think one of my mentors, like people, one of the guys that mentored me, one of his famous sayings is not everything is not for everybody. So like you got to try it out, see if it's there. So if you guys got like 6 or 7 trucks or you got multiple trucks, stick one out there. Let it just sit there. Get a DoorDash. The unit doesn't cost anything. Let him send you a unit, sit it there, see if it works. If it doesn't work, but if it does work, boom, you kind of look for a little building, you look for something in that area, and kind of see where it goes from there. But I wouldn't recommend it for everybody because I don't feel like everybody's on that level. As far as quality wise, I've tried some food trucks and they are trash. They are trash. Yeah. Not every food truck is a good food truck, but there are some out there who's like, man, you want to take your wife or your significant other on a date to this restaurant because this is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really good.
What, Brandon mentioned my restaurant experience, but it's different than a food truck. What kind of hurdles did you come across that you didn't experience in a food truck?
Well, you're going to run more staff. Definitely. You're going to have a bigger operation. So, with the food truck, it's almost like a baby, if I can use that analogy with Baby Bear. You're starting out as a baby and you're growing into something, and then now you're growing into this bigger staff. You get a bigger realm, this area. Now you have these other restaurants, and I believe the biggest challenge that we had is now we're standing on the corner. We're here. We're not moving around to a different group or different festivals or different things. We're here. So now you had to that was our hugest challenge to make this work. Hey, I was almost like the guy on Sundance where it's like, come on down, $2.99. You know what I mean? And I'm just hustling. Come on here, try this burger. Because I know that if you try this burger, you're going to love it. And you're going to keep coming back. So you wanted that repeat traffic. You wanted those regular customers. And so I believe that was our biggest hurdle in the brick and mortar realm. And trying to, you can't appease everybody, but trying to find your target market and that. The second one is your money. A lot of times with a food truck, you can run off a whim. And you just like how they say, you're out the seat of your pants. You're just doing stuff. But when you're there, you have to know your costs. So like ketchup.
Yeah.
Like I was like, let me just get Hunt's ketchup or let me get Heinz. There's a reason why everybody use house recipe because it's going to cost, $50 less. And then at the end of the day, that's going to help you pay your employees and different things like that. So you start to see your costs. So yeah, most definitely. Those are the things that your actual costs, how much your burger is, how much you're really making down to really cents. So yeah, definitely.
I've told the story. I've told the story, I think 3 times now on this podcast, but there's a famous place in town called John's Drive-In. It's been there since 58, I think it was. My dad was good buddies with a guy, and he'd sit down every day for lunch with him. And the waitress brought over the food, brought 2 napkins, 2 ketchups. And the owner freaked out on her because he's like, I have it figured out in every meal. It's 1 napkin, 1 ketchup. To that point, like, it adds up. When you're spending 50 less on some ketchup, every month, that's you're spending 50 less on ketchup. That's all people out there see. But, like, you're spending 50 less on 40 different products. Mm-hmm. Now you're talking about a couple grand a month, Yep. So that's the biggest thing I experienced with the restaurant too is you are trying to pinch pennies everywhere.
Yep.
And that can be really hard. You got to be on the operation at all times. Yep. Food trucks, you can, like you said, you can make up a lot on a food truck because sometimes we can, have really inflated numbers. At a restaurant, you're gonna have some days that you got to make up for. So
Yeah.
it's a different beast.
Yeah.
So you make your own house ketchup now?
No,
no,
that's the name.
Not
Of it.
yet?
No, it's a name.
That's the name of
It's
it?
a generic brand.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's called House Recipe.
Okay.
You'll if you pay attention now, you'll notice.
Yeah, now I'll notice.
Yeah, you'll
'cause-
go in there like House Recipe.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, there's things that we talk about that different sauces and different things like that we think like, should we make it? You know what I mean? Like, have you like, is it cheaper to buy it or is it cheaper to make it? So like our yum yum sauce we make, but like so teriyaki, he was making his own teriyaki in his restaurant. We're not doing that. So you gotta weigh the time versus value too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how much time is this going to take to create? So is there anything you make now that you didn't make on your truck? Like, what are you doing to subsidize those costs? Just using different brands?
I know that we opened up a little bit more. Like we weren't. We've always made mac and cheese, but when we went to the brick and mortar, we actually had it on the menu permanently. And so those are things that we make it with the Velveeta because that's the closest we can get to government cheese.
Yeah.
So yeah, we use the stuff to make it good. Now, dealing with ketchup and mustard and things like that, you don't want to make none of that stuff.
Yeah.
You don't want to make hot sauce. I'm sorry. Frank got it right. You know what I mean? Crystal's got it right. But there's certain things where you make your own barbecue sauce. You batter your own onion rings, things like that. You make your own like cowboy beans, or you make your own chili. Those things people can actually taste. And those are the things that you want to actually make. Like we have seasoned fries. We make the seasoning that goes on the fries. Now they already a fry that's already kind of like that Cisco already knows which ones that we want, and we just we use fresh oil, and we change our oil a lot, and then we shake it in that seasoning, and it's crispy, it's good. So
It all
definitely
works.
it all works together.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just make certain different parts that go together, but I'm not making everything yet. Yeah, I mean, if you, again, I worked at every job in America. If you go into some restaurants, you go in the back, you like, man, I thought I was getting real pasta. You know what I mean? They boiling it, but it's coming out the bag, dog. Yep.
He tells me the same thing. Like, people complain about like, what's pre-made, what's not pre-made, what's par cooked, what's prepped ahead of time. And like 90% of restaurants you go to, everything's made ahead of time.
99.
Yeah.
99?
Yeah. 99.
Yeah. Head over there to Panera and get your macaroni and cheese. Watch them pull that bag out of the hot water. Yeah. That'll be $15.
$15.
But I mean, in high volume, that's the thing that people say this stuff. They don't understand high volume. Like you got to operate in a different world. You're not cooking for 5 people. And you're trying to feed a couple hundred people in a couple hours. It's you gotta make things work.
Yep.
So I've been in the food business I started in a restaurant when I was 14. So I saw all the creative things that the kitchen does.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. J-Dub Fillmore's.
Really? What were you doing?
I did everything.
Really?
Started as a busboy, dish cleaner, prep cook.
Wow.
Nice.
That makes sense. He knows way more about that stuff than me. Yeah, but something you said is like, you can't please everybody. I hope you don't mind me bringing this up.
Yeah, 100%.
I saw.
What are you doing right now?
No, I saw he posted something and it had a lot of pushback, and I just want to see how it's going. You know what I'm talking about?
No, go ahead.
When you closed your indoor, you made a post saying you were closing your indoor seating.
Yeah.
And it just went like, I seen a bunch of pushback. It was like 50-50 good and bad, because then you express like takeout, outdoor seating, things like that. But have you officially done that?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
So we actually Google. I'm going to tell you, Google. People go to Google just to complain.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, a lot. Okay, a lot of people. They go. It's kind of like one of those things. You have a few people that go and say good things about it on Google, but a lot of people go. And so we had a lot of mixed reviews on Google. They're like, "Hey, people walk behind this DoorDasher. Walk behind me. 3-star. It's like
yeah.
the food was good, but 3-star. It's like it's so overcrowded. 3-star. It's like, hold on, man. So we got a lot of mixed reviews, and it was like a lot of it was with the seating. So we are in like almost a to-go spot. So a lot of times you don't want to tell people your growth because people don't understand it. As a business person, like we can talk and we're like, okay, I can see it. But then sometimes when you're saying things, people don't see your vision. So a lot when I shut it down, people were like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're going to lose. You're going to go out of business. Da, 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 da. And we're like, nah, man, this is planned.
It makes sense for us. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like everything that are steps that we're making towards, the renovations for that spot. And then people are going to be like, wow, I see it now.
Yeah.
Okay, I see where you're going with everything. So definitely, we kind of use some models from different spots, from all over from everywhere. And we kind of use those spots as models to like, okay, this is what we want Baby Bear to be. So we don't tell everybody. We kind of keep it close to the vest a little bit sometimes. And that was one of those things where like, we're not just going to ask the public's opinion. We're just going to do it. Yeah,
right.
We're just going to do it.
So it's been closed.
The inside is closed.
Yeah.
We do have an outdoor patio
Yeah.
where you can come and eat. And then we have a separate area where you can come get DoorDash and things like that. So
And do you have a drive-through too?
we do have a drive-through that's been we've been developing and getting better. We have a painter. His name is Jason Caldwell, and that guy is a master. He's painted up, making it look really good. We have a fence. He's been painting that. So we're kind of getting it all decorated, getting it all right, and hopefully by the end of the summer, close to at the beginning of the fall, we'll have a lot of that completed. Headsets where it's a true drive-through. You can come, but everything's still drop fresh.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm obsessed with like the food game, so I don't like seeing the drive-through game. Dave from Wendy's is the dude that created the 2-window system, right? And he's like, people are waiting in line the same amount of time, but they don't think about it because they put in an order. Now they're driving the next window. Same time as if they put in the order and sat there. But just it's something to think about when you're doing something like that. It's like you can make this just drive up window, or you can make it work smarter and faster and more efficient, whatever the case is. So I'm like the systems guy. So hearing you talk about that it's cool. People are thinking ahead like that. I like that.
Some people are like, oh man, just take it away. It's more space. You can just lay everything out. I'm like, no. Like, you got this whiny kid in the back. You don't want to take him in a restaurant. You don't want to leave him in the car either. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're going to go through the drive-thru. So, yeah, definitely. There's so many advantages to it. And you get so much more business. I think it's like 30 to 40% more business if you have a true drive-thru. So, yeah, definitely we want to capitalize on that.
So do your numbers support that decision? That's the way you're moving? Are you basing everything based on your numbers?
Yeah, and then also the expansion of our hours. So from a business standpoint, and I'm just going to speak on that, is that you take the person where they're constantly waiting on the person in front, and you spread those hours and you spread it out. Now you have more resources to where, hey, okay, I can say, hold on in one moment, boom, 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 DoorDash comes up. You can handle it with one person versus 2 to 3 people. So you those hours, that manpower, those employees, especially during COVID when we are having a time, is even now finding good employees that want to stay, that want to work. Closing that down where we don't have to have 2 to 3 employees at a time. We only needed one. It's such a huge decision.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what you're saying is without the indoor seating, there's probably less closing time, right? Without indoor seating, there's less cleanup.
Employees,
less employees. Okay.
Probably cut your costs by 30%.
There you go.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
And then, so has your numbers changed at all since you closed the inside?
When we did, we had a lot of people. They'll come up and they'll show their frustration. Oh, you don't have indoor seating. I'm out of here. You know what I mean? So, but we're like, hey, have a great day. You know what I mean? Like you got, but after a while, people just, and then you have your regular customers just like, man, ain't no burger like Baby Bear.
Yeah.
Man. I'm going to come through. I don't care if you serve it in a shoe. We going to eat it. You know what I mean? Like, most definitely. You had your regular customers that will hold you down. Most definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to somebody and they said that you really have to hit 70 to 80% return customers to be successful. So do you know your numbers by chance? Like, do you track that stuff?
Yeah, I do. I'm getting a little bit more into the numbers because I feel like as a food truck, you were just kind of like just doing things, and then now it's like, okay, who's your target market? Who's this? Who's that? What is your number? Who is really buying? Are they online? Are they pull up? Are they drive? And those numbers I'm getting a little bit more into. But yeah, definitely a lot of it is online. A lot of the orders are online. People want to come pick up, or they want to eat with their families, things like that. And if you got a small dining room, they'll just take it and go home, or they'll order DoorDash or order online. So definitely.
So when they're doing that DoorDash, do you get any of those analytics? See, like this is a repeat customer or anything like that?
We do. We do.
That's nice.
Yeah, we get to see, and of course you'll see the name on the screen multiple times. Like, who is Snoop Dogg? Yeah. Okay, Snoop is ordering this week like every day. Like, but then they also in the app it's called like a DoorDash manager. You hop in there and they have their own platform. But what you want to do is convert them over to your platform because that opens up the door to so many more different things. DoorDash just gives you a little snippet. But then when they hop on your platform to your website, that's where you control the narrative a little bit more and where you could see the numbers a little bit
now
better.
you can directly market to those people too. I feel like, we've done this for 6 years now, and that's the biggest miss we've had is we're not collecting that information. Like, there's a taco joint in Mount Pleasant. I don't think it's closing anytime soon, so I don't think you can take it over. It's been here for 67, I think, and the owner ran it for 50 years, however long, so whatever that adds up to. But he just sold it to this other guy. And this guy's bringing in all, like, new technology. So he has a loyalty system now, and you put in your number, you get a text immediately, like, thanks, whatever, here's your points. But it's all data collection. So, like, he knows, he can see, like, I'm sure, you can see how often you're there, what you're ordering, all that. And he can curate his menu based off of that. It's, so analytics and collecting this data is huge. And you talked about it earlier. Does your point of sale offer that?
Yeah, yes, they do.
Yeah.
They offer a lot of those different things, but I got them because of the extra little things where you can, like you were saying, your numbers, the repeat customers. And the system that I used previously, they used a little bit of that, and you could see a lot of the same data, but this one just pushed it to the whole, and then you have a whole team that will call you and share that data with you, and to where they educate you on it. A lot of times we're looking for that knowledge to take us to that extra, and for them to take out the time and have a whole team that will communicate with you. With the other one, it's kind of like you had to search for it. It's huge. It's huge for your business. So I can just get on a call and somebody can tell me about all the numbers, tell me about everything, tell me which ones is really struggling, what direction really to go on, and what to really focus on, and like your marketing, it's huge. So it kind of sends you in a whole other
That's really
direction.
smart.
So you almost have like a consulting team too.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And it's all built into the cost and everything else with that. So,
I feel like DoorDash and Grubhub should be giving you a kickback because honestly, you opened my mind to it and you're thinking about it, and like honestly, you make a lot of good points. So I have a business.
It's. I'm sorry, I'll let you get back to that. But our concept we're thinking about, I'm like,
it could
this
work.
might be what It's like right there, but it's like.
One of my biggest concerns is what I was going to ask you about. So I have a business partner that owned 22 Jimmy John's.
Okay.
And what really set them apart was their freakishly fast delivery, right? Like that was them. You knew they delivered, and you knew they were going to be fast. They were. I don't know if they ever adopted it, but at the time when Grubhub and UberDash was like exploding, they were totally against it because they didn't want to lose quality and they wanted to maintain their speed. Do you think that? Does that affect your food at all, the speed of it or the quality when it gets to those people that have ordered the food?
So most people have that in mind when they're getting something DoorDash or something online delivered. I'm a consumer first, so I always look at it first. Like, so I would like, I'm weird like that. I would test the subject first. So I'll like, order from like, let's say, we call it Arbutra, but it's Arby's, and we'll order from Arbutra, and it was like. And they'll get delivered, and we'll see how the fries taste. Like, their fries are the curly fries, and they're super crispy when, okay, is it enjoyable, da-da-da. And then we'll ask other people about it, like just our friends, and see how they like it, And then we kind of make the based off of that. And then I'd live off the notion, just do it. The Nike thing, don't sue me, Nike. Just do it. Like, try it. If it don't work, hey, you invested. There's a lot of people that invested in something and it didn't quite work out. But if you don't do it, you'll never know.
Yeah.
And I feel like some places, like when you say Jimmy John's, I don't know if this is the case, but I always look at like that Kodak moment when Kodak is gone. But if they would have took that step to get the digital camera, and if they would have took that step, like if Western Union, don't sue me, Western Union. If Western Union would have took that step instead of Cash App and had the same model, step forward, would they still be relevant?
You got to evolve.
Yeah, you got to evolve.
Yeah.
You got to evolve. You're either growing or you're dying.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like one of those things. It's like, when is the next, and then what is the next like wave? What is the next phase for everything? Like the country, the for the business, and just everything in general.
You know, what's really interesting with that. It's like we had to make the decision to go from being, running these things to becoming operators. Sounds like you're in the same boat as an operator, and you have to give up control. I feel like with everything you do, you got to give up a certain amount of control. That's the same thing Jimmy John's. Then they're not going to give up that control. They're not going to take advantage of a huge market. So sometimes you got to give up 30% of something to make it work well.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
They were really Jimmy John's was really analytical about it, like the fact that they would only deliver within like 3 to 5 miles to keep that consistency. Like, so their radius wasn't. That was one of their complaints. But I was just wondering if quality food was a thing that people like, if it's still worth it. You know what I mean? If people still like, if you're getting any bad reviews based on that.
So our burger is so good you can microwave it.
Yeah.
And it's still good.
What about the buns though? Do they get soggy or?
I'm one of those type of people, like, you take the bun apart and then you microwave it and put it back on the bun. You know what I mean? So,
I'm asking because we have wraps, and so those wraps get soggy if they get.
Five Guys is the same way, right? They won't deliver for that reason.
Yeah. So a lot of places won't deliver for that. So that's why that's kind of what always been my hiccup on like trying to switch to a door, because I don't know that quality. Like if it takes 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I've heard like horror stories of it taking longer than it should. And so like that's my thing, is that the quality. I wanted to maintain that quality, and you're a big quality guy. Yeah. So if it meets your standards, I'm sure it'll work out for us too.
But I think that gives you the opportunity to. I mean, a complaint is an opportunity to please somebody, right? So, like, if you're going to get that complaint, you could probably make up for it pretty easily. Like, hey, sorry, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Then we get another one out to you.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I guess if it's happening half the time, then it doesn't work. But.
Yeah. So we're in the quality game. I mean, as you know, like, we're going to push quality, but the quality is so high. Like, the lettuce is so fresh and things like that, to where, like I said, when it gets there, the burger might be a little cold, but it's still a great burger. You would say, like, man, if this was hot, you know what I mean? This would be it. So then that entices people to come to your spot too. Like, let me get it right there when it comes out too.
Yeah, that's
so
good, yeah.
Definitely. People understand. When they're tasting things, they taste something when it's bad. A bad burger from these large chains. They're just like, man, okay, this is just something to feed my kids or whatever, what have you. But when they taste that, they like, man, y'all kids can have this. I'm about to eat this. You know what I mean? So, yeah, definitely.
Especially if your strategy is to get your burger in more people's hands. Because that's exactly what it does, right?
Yep.
And then to get them into the store.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
100%,
huge.
100%.
I haven't heard much about this, so I don't know if you're doing anything with it. But I know also at one point in time you bought another trailer too, right?
Yeah.
Do you still have that?
Yeah. So we do have the other trailer, and then we're actually working on a drivable trailer for a catering unit. So a concept that we've been working on is like a food commissary catering unit. So we're like, say that somebody wants barbecue, or if somebody wants like a southern kitchen, it can cater to all that. It will have 3 different menus, and you can, okay, man, I'm looking for a barbecue guy. Yeah, you got him. What you need? Boom, send them the menu. You can cater to those things. So we kind of working on a few things and seeing some concepts and seeing what works as far as with the third truck. But the second truck, we're just kind of looking for locations. We just don't have the opportunity for it yet. But we have our OG trailer. He's on the block, and that boy is ready. He's at 127 Brewery, standing tall. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely.
Well, we've always went back and forth with buying trailers, adding units, getting rid of units, adding units, trying new concepts. I think we've tried 2 or 3 concepts now that didn't really work out, but you don't know unless you try, right?
But also, I don't know if we gave those legs. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't give it the same lifespan that we've given Nom Nom. Because we're like, hey, Nom Nom's working, everything's going to work, and it doesn't work in a week. We're like, it's not working. We're like, I think if we would have judged Nom Nom the same way off the bat, we probably wouldn't be doing it still. But with that being said, the donuts was never going to work.
Yeah, the donuts. That was a tough one. As soon as Joe called me at like 1 or 2 a.m. and said, come help me scrape some grease off the floor, I'm like, yeah, never again. And we were there for hours.
That's a disaster. You work with fryers. How the heck do you guys, this has always blown my mind, how do you work with fryers in a mobile unit?
A lot of cleaning. But beyond that, you have to shut it down a little bit earlier, and you gotta filter the oil, and then you change it very often.
But so are you emptying the oil out every time you're done with the
Yep.
spot? Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
not every time, but and I know friends of mine, they empty it every single day. Like it's like, but they have the cleanest oil, and they replace it a lot. So one of the guys that mentored me, he changes his oil, just like change it every 5 days, like brand new oil, but he filters it every single day. And everybody loves his chicken, and they're like, man, this chicken's so great. It's because he takes that
Yeah,
quality,
you don't
and it
chicken,
keeps
you got a ton of battery,
yeah,
yeah.
and like when you see the grease on the walls and stuff, that's because of a lot of that dirty grease that's in there. So if the grease, there's particles that sit in the bottom, like just like crumbs and things, it starts to burn. It starts to have like this smoke-like texture. That's what sticks on everything else. So if you filter that out, you're not gonna have a lot of that. So it's
gotcha.
less cleaning at that point. But with fryers, you're gonna have a lot of cleaning. You're still gonna have a lot of, but it will reduce it if you do that. So what we do, 30 minutes before we, or right when we close, we let it cool off. Then we filter it, and then get it ready for the next day. So it's like an end of the day type of.
Do you have something that can go on the unit so you could travel with the grease in it?
Yeah, there's like
Okay.
Amazon is amazing. Don't sue me, Amazon. But Amazon is amazing. They have this thing that clamps on there, and it's amazing.
And it just stops the grease from spilling.
Yeah. You clamp it down, and that's it. I mean, and it sits in there. You can roll it. You can lock the wheels. You can tie it to the wall, whatever. But with the clamp down, and as long as you kind of put it like just snugged a little bit, you're good to go.
Do you have to wait till it cools to do it?
No.
Wow.
I usually, I can't have it scalding hot, but like after like 10 minutes after you turn off the fryer, it's pretty much good to go to where you can filter it out. And there's like a filter that goes in the unit, and it just flows right into it, catches most of the stuff, and then you have this thing that you could just kind of like scrape the crumbs a little bit to get the rest of the crumbs in that unit, and then after that, you're good to go. Yep. You ain't got to put a bunch of water or do nothing to clean it out. It pretty much, just get a lot of those crumbs out and, lock it back up, put the stuff back in it, and then get ready for the next day. So,
Do you think it's any harder with the fire department or health department when you have fryers? Because we don't have any, but we've always thought about it.
I think that the biggest thing we have with them is the hand washing sink because of the location of ours. But in a lot of food trucks, it's tough because you got a person working the front and you got a person working the grill. You got one hand washing sink, and then you have like what is it, like the unit, the steam table. It might be blocking it and stuff like that. So I think that's the most difficult thing when you're talking about health department. Not I wouldn't say not the unit itself. As far as like the grease or anything like that or the fryers. I would say that, and then also our pump that pumps the water freezes in the winter unless you do the maintenance to winterize it.
Yeah.
It does freeze, so you got to buy a new pump and things
Every
like
year.
that. Yeah,
Top pops right off that thing.
yeah.
We ran into that.
We've
Yeah.
replaced many of those.
Yep.
But yeah, that's awesome, man. So I'm really happy for you, bro. And like I know that, just meeting you and like we've stayed in touch, we've stayed friends. Jackson's got the OG crew, bro. I just love that crew. Just it became our home away from home because of COVID, and we were going down there. So to see that you became so successful with your Baby Bear and the trailers, and then the brick and mortar, and then I really want to have like another podcast or something, but figure out how that that food truck is doing when it sits on that corner in one permanent spot, because you're saying it starts tomorrow, right?
Yeah, 100%. It starts tomorrow, and we're gonna run the same hours as 127 Brewery, and we'll see how that goes, and of course expand those hours.
Because that's a question on I think everybody's mind is like, can I make this be successful without having to move as often? Like you've heard about our experience where all these trucks break down. We could cut.
Oh, for the record, third one just went down. So
Yeah.
I think every episode we've done, there's been one broken out.
Yeah,
So.
three in about a month or 3 weeks, something like that. But pretty much every unit we had,
Wow.
except for one. We got one good one still.
Put it on the corner.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably separately, we've both been like, all right, do we have to change our concept? Like, do we have to do something different? Is sitting in one place the way to go? Or do we spend $80,000 on a vehicle that's going to handle this? So it's like hearing somebody who's going to do that, I really want to get that feedback and see thing is, Jackson has the population, I think, to support it. So you're gonna have to be in a city like that. But
Yeah, and then we have the opportunity to open up in like a food truck park next year in a different state, and it's stationary, but the expense is extreme. Kind of, it's like $7,000 a month, to be honest with you, to be transparent about it. But do you save that in travel, fuel costs? Because right now before it blew up, we were spending like $150 to $200 a day in fuel, less wear and tear. Everything you need is at that spot. So that's what that's what's
less
going on in the back
employee
of our
hours.
mind. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because now we're paying people to travel. We travel 1 to 2 hours, so you're paying travel time there and back when you're not making money.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're keeping all that in the back of our
you're
mind.
talking like $150 in labor when these people are just sitting in the vehicle. So
Yeah. So like I always put it in perspective. It's like, okay, whatever it is, like say it's $10,000. How many burgers do I gotta sell?
yeah,
Just to
that's
even
funny.
break even.
Everybody's Javi said the same sentence.
Yeah. Or how many units I got it. So if each burger is, let's say, it's $10, how many, and each loaded fry is about $10. Each hot dog, because we got footlong dogs, monster dogs,
nice.
they're about $10. So how many units do we have to push at that point? I mean, just anything, but I like to put it in burgers perspective because I'm a burger guy. And so how many burgers do I actually have to sell? So that's where the biggest question, it was a spot that opened up near us, and the overhead just for the lease a month was $6K.
Ooh.
And it was like, okay,
Yeah.
this ain't including consumers' energy. This is not including the water bill. This is not including labor. This is not how many. What does it look like if I operate that? And if it doesn't make sense, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, in the building that we're at, just say like where we're at right now in the house of the old house of taco, it's $1,500.
Ooh, that's
You know,
so good.
So you
Yeah.
have your less overhead, you have more, more of an opportunity. But if you're like, 6K, you're doing a lot of swimming there.
You're working 3/4 of the month for free.
Come here, buy a burger, $2.99. Come on.
Buy 3, please.
Come on, 3 piece. I give you a free horse ride. Come on. I'm just trying to sell everything. Come on, get it all. So yeah, definitely at that point you're stressing. At that point, but no, definitely every spot that I go to, even at the 127 Brewery, the agreement, it's a low agreement. It's very friendly. The guys give me an opportunity, so look for those opportunities. I wouldn't look for the spots, and I'm not saying it's a bad spot because I know where that spot is. This is gonna be nice. Okay. I was kind of looking there too, but I feel like there's what I tell a lot my buddy too. There's spots here, and you can make that same dollar. So let's say you make at the end of the day you're 10% as an owner or 8%. And it rounds out to be, let's say, 30K. Can you make that 30K as an owner here without taking that much of an extension or that reach? So,
Yeah. I guess like my last question is, do you see a big difference in profit margins between food trucks and restaurants since you've done both?
Yeah, huge. A lot of people, they pay attention to the money that's coming in, but they don't pay attention to the money that's going out. And when we were talking about those pennies and that one ketchup that your buddy was talking about, that's where you can really save the money. You can really make the money because you're dealing with a higher volume, but then you can save those pennies, you can save those dollars, you can kind of conserve some more of that money, and you can actually make more of a profit.
So which one do you think is more profitable?
Oh, brick and mortar, hands down.
It's more profitable?
More profitable, hands down. You're making 8 to 10%, and then if you can also work good on labor, like we were talking about, shutting that down, moving that. My labor has been close to 25%. So then I'm at 25% labor when a lot of people are at 30, 33%, 35% on the higher end. And so I'm able to save, let's say, 2 to 3% that goes more into my profit.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely little things like that, and just a lot more opportunities where with a brick and mortar, and where I feel like food trucks sometimes, people use food trucks a lot to their advantage. And I feel like having brick and mortar, you can actually have that advantage yourself. So instead of being taken advantage as a food truck. So like, I know a lot of times they're like, hey, let's say Faster Horses, don't sue me, Faster Horses, but Faster Horses
We're making a
charge
T-shirt
more,
that says "Don't sue me."
Don't sue me.
So they charge more money for you to get in there, like 30-40%. So then they're using us so they can make more money.
Yeah, they wouldn't do that to a restaurant.
Yeah, they wouldn't do that to a restaurant. So as a restaurant, people are coming into our town for Faster Horses, and they're not charging us any dollars.
Right.
So we're able to take advantage of that crowd and not having to pay Faster Horses.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, good advice, man. Good advice. Do you have any questions you want to ask?
No, I'm just, the different perspective has been great to hear.
Yeah.
Like, if I've said, if I forgot where Enzo, if we ever did a restaurant, it would be a 2-seater with a takeout, which is basically what you're doing. That's appealing to me. That sounds like a good concept for a lot of people that are in the food truck game. To, if you're at the point where you've, hit your expansion levels, that's maybe an option. So it's good to hear that perspective. I appreciate it.
100%.
Yeah, man. No, I love having you on, bro. And like you said, we go back. So, where can everybody find you? Like, what are good socials? What is your website? Like, where can people find you?
Everything is Baby Bear Burger. Baby Bear Burger at gmail.com. Baby Bear Burger, Facebook, so it's at Baby Bear Burger. Instagram at Baby Bear Burger. TikTok at Baby Bear Burger. We just make it simple.
It's all Baby
just
Bear
type
Burger.
in Baby Bear Burger and we gonna pop up. I love it. I just love it. I dig that. Don't sue me, Amazon. But Amazon, they had the best motto. They love it because Amazon is easy to say, easy to remember, and nothing else is called Amazon except for the jungle.
Yeah.
Everything, you know what I mean? So like when you type in Baby Bear, you're gonna get the real bear or you're gonna get our burger joint. And they're going to be like, yeah, there's a burger joint in Jackson. Jackson, where's that at? I got to go get me a burger. So yeah, everything at Baby Bear Burger. Easy to smell, easy to remember. Come check us out.
I love that, bro. Well, you know where to find us. We're on Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Amazon. We also got a YouTube
We're on
channel.
Amazon?
Yeah.
Nice.
Amazon podcasting. Yep. We're on Amazon.
I'll never check that
Music
out.
podcast. Yep. We're on Amazon podcast. You can check out our website. It's hibachinininja.com, hibachiraps.com, Nom Nom Ninja, anywhere, any of the socials, guys. But yeah, we look forward, man. I just appreciate the conversation. You making the trip to come up here.
Another legend.
Another legend.
It's
yeah.
funny. Everybody we've talked to, these people are legends.
They are. So you are for sure, man. Jackson legend, but we hear about you all the way up here. So,
Yes.
But yeah, guys, appreciate you.
Keep trucking.